Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Jackie and I'm here to help you pass your US Citizenship Interview. Today I'm going to go over some of the most asked questions about taxes for the naturalization process. Filing taxes is required by law and it shows you have good moral character, which is one of the requirements for naturalization. In general, an applicant who fails to file tax returns, fails to pay taxes, or has overdue taxes may get his or her application denied. I'll go over some tips of what you can do if that's your situation. Okay, let's start. Have you ever called yourself a non-U.S. resident on any federal or state tax form? This is question 8 on your N-400 application and is one of the questions a lot of applicants get confused about. First, you need to understand what non-U.S. resident means. It just means someone who doesn't live in the U.S. If you called yourself a non-U.S. resident on any tax form, you might be exempt from paying certain taxes. However, as a green card holder applying for citizenship, you need to spend most of the time living in the U.S. As a result, you can't claim yourself as a non-U.S. resident on any tax forms. So, the answer to the question, have you ever called yourself a non-U.S. resident on any federal or state tax form? Should be no. And if the officer asks why you don't call yourself a non-U.S. resident on a tax return, you just need to say, because I live in the U.S. Do I need to bring tax documents to the naturalization interview? Before your interview, you will get an interview notice and will be asked to bring a list of documents. This is a very generic list, and it does not ask you to bring tax documents. So, why should you bring your tax transcripts to the interview? Question 7 in part 12 of the N-400 asks, have you ever not filed a federal, state, or local tax return since you became a lawful permanent resident? The IRS tax transcripts are proof that you filed your taxes. It really depends on the officer whether he or she will ask you for them. I've seen quite a few applications that were not approved during the interview because the applicant didn't bring their tax return transcripts. The officer will usually send you an N-14 notice and you have to submit the tax transcripts within 30 days after you receive the notice. This just further delays the approval process. So, if you don't want to risk that, bring them with you, even if you've already submitted them with the application. What type of tax documents should I bring? If you take a look at the official USCIS document checklist, Form M-477, it asks you to submit one of the following documents during your application: tax returns, IRS certified copies of income tax forms, or IRS tax return transcripts. Even though it refers to people applying through marriage, it should still apply to people who apply through the 5-year eligibility. I personally recommend submitting the IRS tax return transcripts during your application and bringing them with you to the interview just in case. You can request these for free via the IRS website, by mail, or even by phone. How many years of tax return transcripts should I bring? For applicants who applied through marriage, bring the last 3 years. For applicants who applied through 5-year eligibility, bring the past 5 years. Again, I suggest to bring the tax return transcripts from the IRS, not your 1040 tax returns. A tax return is what you send to the IRS when you file your taxes every year. A tax transcript is the official confirmation document by the IRS that you filed your taxes. the IRS will only provide the tax return transcripts for the current and 3 prior tax years. So if you're applying through 5-year eligibility, I suggest that you bring the tax returns for the missing years. Can I file taxes separately from my spouse? If you're filing the N-400 application through marriage, the USCIS officers want to see documents to show that your marriage is real. This includes joint bank accounts, mortgage statements, rental agreement, health insurance, and joint tax returns. However, it's okay to file taxes separately if you have a valid reason. Just make sure to have documents during the interview to support the reason. Will my application get denied if I don't file taxes? It depends. If you are required to file taxes and you didn't, it shows that you don't have good moral character and your application may get denied. However, there are various valid reasons that an applicant doesn't need to file taxes, and you will still be able to pass the naturalization interview. For example, you're a dependent on someone's tax return, or your income is below the filing threshold. Keep in mind that even if you don't work, you might have taxable income. Your salary is just one source of income. Think about tips, dividends, interest from your bank, unemployment compensation, or supplemental security income. And just because you don't have to pay taxes doesn't mean that you don't need to file tax returns. It's always a good idea to consult a certified tax accountant in advance before your N-400 interview. If you meet the requirements of not filing taxes, you still need to answer yes to question 7A on the N-400 application and provide a written explanation of why you didn't file your taxes since you became a green card holder. Will my application get denied if I owe overdue taxes? Ideally, I would recommend you to pay overdue taxes off before the interview. However, I understand that's not always possible. Sometimes a tax bill can take several years to pay off due to your financial situation. If that's the case, you need to set up a payment plan with the IRS. Make sure to build a history of on-time payments for at least 6 months before the interview, if possible. And last but not least, bring proof of the agreed payment plan with the IRS and proof of payments to show that your account is current with the payments. All right, that's it. Do you have any other tax questions? Leave me a comment and check out these videos. Take care, everyone. Bye.